Did you know there's an ancient technique forgotten by modern science that can turn laziness into pure productivity? Nope, it's not magic. It's not some cheap motivation trick. It's neuroscience, with ancient roots, a long-lost practice. Simple, natural, powerful. While everyone else is fighting against laziness, this technique uses it to your advantage. And the wildest part, works within minutes. What you're about to see might change your relationship with time, focus, and yourself. Get ready to discover the ancient technique forgotten by modern science. It turns laziness into real productivity. Chapter 1. The Origins of the Forgotten Technique. Picture a time when productivity wasn't about goals, it was about inner balance. Ancient civilizations believed in the power of micro-actions practiced daily. These teachings were passed down through generations until industrialization buried them. Get this. These techniques were more about the body than the mind. Simple, yet incredibly effective at gently triggering the brain into action. Today, we link productivity with intense effort, which just leads to burnout. But ancient masters knew that small, consistent rituals shaped the mind. They created a natural cycle of action, almost without resistance. This wisdom vanished when society started chasing speed and outcomes. Now modern science is rediscovering the power of that lost simplicity. Old manuscripts found in South Asia describe this practice in detail. It's all about focus, breathing, and a special kind of intention. The goal isn't to beat laziness, it's to redirect it. You don't need to be a machine. You just activate the right mode in your brain. And this technique does exactly that, gently, quietly, powerfully. Modern studies show our brains respond better to short, consistent stimuli. And that's exactly what those ancient sages practiced. With simple movements and mindful repetition, they rewired mental patterns. It was intuitive neuroplasticity centuries before science caught on. That's the foundation we'll explore in the next chapters. Chapter 2. What laziness really is. Most people think laziness is just lack of willpower or discipline. But science tells us it's often just a sign of overload. Your brain's trying to protect you from tasks that feel too overwhelming. It's not about low energy, it's about too much mental weight. And this ancient technique hits right at that point. It eases the initial burden. When you're stuck, procrastinating, your brain's in energy-saving mode. It avoids effort to protect itself from burnout. But the trick is to fool it with actions so tiny, it doesn't even notice. That's what the ancient masters died a kind of biological hack. They bypass the inner defense system without forcing anything. This technique doesn't start with big goals. It begins with micro gestures, almost symbolic. Stand up and take a deep breath. There's your first step. Drink some water, light a candle, write one word. The key is to create motion, even micro movement, to break the inertia. Neuroscience backs this up. Even the smallest movement activates focus centers in the brain. It lowers the feeling of effort and boosts dopamine. Small actions equal small rewards. And that kicks off a gentle upward productivity cycle. That's the beauty of it. It honors your limits, but nudges you forward. Chapter 3. The neuroscience behind the technique. When we think about productivity, we think push harder. But our brains run on pleasure. If a task feels like punishment, it triggers the brain's avoidance system. But if there's even a small, quick reward, the brain lights up with motivation. That's the dopamine effect. It drives you forward. And that's exactly how this ancient technique works. When you do something simple and achievable, you activate your reward circuit. It tells your brain that was easy, I want more. Instead of fighting laziness, you charm your brain with tiny wins. And that changes everything, because now your body moves and the brain follows. Neuroscientists call it a trigger effect. One small action opens the door to another, creating a flow of productivity. Focus becomes effortless. You go from stuck to slowly but surely in motion. That's the core of this method. Activating your brain through pleasure, not pressure. MRI studies show how micro-actions light up specific brain areas. This ancient technique, despite its age, matches up with modern research. Best part, you don't need gear, apps, or anything external. It's just you and one first step. That's simple, that powerful. Chapter 4. How to use the technique in daily life. You don't need to overhaul your whole routine to use this technique. Start with waking up. Instead of jumping out of bed, breathe deeply and move your fingers slowly. That small gesture already activates body awareness. Then get up with intention, feel the floor, notice your body. You're already reprogramming your nervous system. Next, choose one symbolic micro-action to begin your day. Light a candle. Write a positive phrase. Drink water mindfully. Ease. Gestures anchor your body to your intention. Throughout the day, repeat small routines that tell your brain it's time to act. No pressure, just gentle repetition. Ditch the long to-do lists. Pick one tiny task and focus only on that. When it's done, celebrate silently. I did it. That sparks a dopamine hit that reinforces the habit. Repeat until it becomes automatic. End your day with a closing ritual. Take a deep breath, enjoy a mindful shower, or write down one thing you're grateful for. This tells your brain that things are okay, tasks are done. It creates closure, a habit our anxious minds really need. This is productivity with ease. That's the goal. Chapter 5. Why modern productivity hacks fail. Most modern productivity hacks rely on intensity, not sustainability. They push you to grind, hustle, and optimize every second. But this constant pressure just wears out your nervous system. Instead of flow, you get fatigue masked as ambition. That's not productivity, it's survival mode. Ancient techniques, like the one we're exploring, follow your natural rhythms. They don't force, they guide. And that's what makes the difference long term. Instead of burning out, you build up slowly and steadily. That's how real productivity becomes part of who you are. So modern hacks are often external, apps, trackers, schedules. But this technique is internal, it changes your perception of action. When your mind shifts, your habits follow. That's why it works even when motivation is gone. It's not willpower. It's wiring. So next time a hack promises instant results, pause. Ask, is this sustainable or just hype? Because what's ancient and proven often outlasts the latest trend. And this technique has stood the test of time. Let's keep going deeper. Chapter 6. The power of ritual. We often ignore how powerful small rituals can be. They seem insignificant, but they speak directly to the subconscious. Lighting a candle, stretching, or breathing deeply isn't about the action, it's about the signal your brain learns. Now it's time to shift. And that mental shift changes everything. Ancient cultures knew this. They used rituals not just for spirituality, but for focus and presence. Repeating the same simple actions daily trained the nervous system. The mind quieted, the body listened. And what followed was natural flow, not forced output. Modern life lacks this structure. We wake up and rush straight into chaos. But by adding rituals, even just 2 minutes, we reclaim control. It's not about productivity anymore. It's about alignment between mind and action. Think of rituals as anchors. They keep you grounded when life gets hectic. And when done regularly, they become triggers for clarity and motion. This is ancient biohacking without the noise. And it works. Chapter 7. Real-life examples and success stories. Let's get practical. People around the world are rediscovering this ancient wisdom and thriving. One woman began by writing one word each morning. Within weeks, she finished her first book. It started with a breath and a blank page. A college student struggling with burnout tried lighting incense before studying. It seemed silly, but that one ritual trained his brain. Soon, focus became easier, even automatic. He turned ritual into momentum. No force, just flow. Another example. A man recovering from depression used micro-walks. Every morning, he walked for 2 minutes while repeating one phrase. It rewired his entire day. The ancient technique helped him reconnect with himself and with purpose. Simple acts. Big shifts. These aren't just stories, they're proof. You don't need to change everything. You just need to start somewhere consistent. Because transformation doesn't come from force. It comes from rhythm. Chapter 8. Silence and stillness. As tools, ancient wisdom wasn't all about movement. It was also about stillness. But not passive stillness, stillness. Moments where you pause, breathe, and observe. That's when the nervous system resets. That's when clarity sneaks in. Today, silence is rare. You fill it with noise, screens, and endless tasks. But the mind needs space to organize itself. Even 1 minute of stillness can calm brainwaves. That's why ancient monks meditated even briefly before acting. Stillness was their launch pad, not their end goal. Try this. Pause for 60 seconds before starting any task. No phone, no talking, just stillness. It might feel weird at first, but your brain will thank you. You're not wasting time, you're sharpening your focus. Silence is productivity's secret ally. Use these moments before important tasks or when you feel scattered. No effort required, just be still. You're training your system to value presence over panic. It's ancient, it's free, and it works. Stillness is where action begins. Chapter 9. Community and shared rhythm. Ancient people didn't do it alone, they moved in rhythm with others. Tribes, monks, artisans, they worked with a shared tempo. A collective rhythm built momentum and accountability. Today, we isolate our goals and wonder why motivation fades. We forget rhythm thrives in connection. You don't need a team to feel connected. Even texting a friend your plan helps, or joining a silent co-working stream online. That sense of, I'm not alone in this, changes everything. It brings structure and emotional support. Ancient gatherings weren't just social, they were productive rituals. People cooked together, cleaned together, created together. You can recreate this energy digitally or at home. Invite rhythm back into your life. It strengthens your resolve. So don't isolate your efforts. Even in silence, you can feel part of something. Anchor your habits in connection, and laziness fades. We're not wired for solo struggle. We're wired for synchronized growth. Chapter 10. From ancient wisdom to modern flow, you don't need to live in a monastery to apply this. You just need to stop forcing and start flowing. The ancient technique isn't about intensity, it's about harmony. Small actions, anchored rituals, gentle motion. That's how you move from stuck to steady. Modern science finally agrees, ease is more effective than pressure. And that's what this forgotten method teaches. It's not a life hack, it's a life rhythm. Repeat, breathe, move, reset. That's how laziness turns into clarity. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Try the technique tomorrow morning, 1 breath, 1 action. Then notice how the day unfolds. Let your brain surprise you, because this isn't the end, it's your beginning. Return to something ancient, simple, and real. You don't need more effort. You need more awareness. And now, you have the tool. Use it well. Conclusion. So tell me, now that you know about this long-lost technique, will you keep treating laziness like an enemy? Or start using it as your ally to live with more ease, focus, and purpose? If this video resonated with you, hit the like button. It helps me know this kind of content is worth sharing. And leave a comment below. What small action will you start with today? I read every single one and reply to the most insightful. And of course, if you're into content that blends psychology, ancient wisdom, and real life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's a lot more powerful stuff coming. See you next time.